Okay, so welcome to the Sculpt Your Best Masterclass. So this is for you ladies, career-driven women who are looking to drop body fat and build a toned physique and maintain it. So this is obviously myself, Richie Brown. I'm from the Girl Boss Method. And in this masterclass, we will be showing you exactly how to achieve that, those toned arms, abs, glutes, and maintain those results as well in the long term, because there's no point of just, making that happen, making the body happen, and then, what happens after that. So it's always good to kind of think about getting to the goal and making it sustainable as well. And that's what we are all about here as well. And considering lots of different things as well. So you as a person, your lifestyle, mindset, etc. So who am I and why should you listen to me? So my name is Richie, as you all know, and I'm a coach. I specialize in women's health and fitness. I have helped thousands of people over the course of my 20-year career get in their best physical shape. And I've done this whilst running my own coaching business. I've had to learn how to manage both fitness and business at the same time. And I know for you ladies as well, and that can be really difficult to manage as well, especially when it comes to like families, career, work, and just juggling life, especially as we get older as well. And so those are some of the things that get in the way. Okay, so you might be on this course and, on this call tonight, and perhaps maybe some of these words speak out to you. So I want you to just take a few moments and have a read of some of these words here for me. So, for example, maybe you've found that you felt frustrated and exhausted with some of the methods that you've tried so far. Maybe there's some resentment and disappointment for when you've given yourself that task of putting yourself forward, and then everything else, all the cards seem to fall down, all the cards of the house as well. And then there's also, when you're approaching a new fitness journey and you're trying something new, there's that fear of failure as well. And so you're unsure, is this going to work? Especially if you've tried things in the past. Again, it comes to what do we find or what do we see on Instagram and TikTok and everything. There's so much information out there. We're living in an amazing world right now. So yes, there is stuff out there, but it can lead you feeling confused and overwhelmed. So if any of these like words speak out to you as they're sort of on the screen there, can I get you to put a 3 in the Zoom chat for me, just so that I know that we're on the right page here? Excellent, brilliant. Yeah. So again, we're just going to bring it back to some of the things that you may have tried in the past, and these methods, you've tried them, but ultimately they failed you. So we've all heard the one about cutting carbs. And again, many of us have tried those restrictive diets in the past. We've cut out carbs entirely. And although we get those results quite quick, once we get back to our normal eating habits, like, we almost hit a plateau, right? And things, they just don't, that needle just doesn't get shifted along. And some other things that you may have tried are things like fad diets. And again, what's popular at the moment, people are talking about, you've always got Slimming World in the back there, and maybe you've tried the carnivore diet, or you've done keto, or you've done the cabbage soup diet, which is probably showing my age, but that's a really old one. But again, time and time again, these fad diets, although they give you those short-term results, they are not helping you in terms of creating long-lasting results. And we've all heard about how wonderful HIIT training can be. HIIT training is great and it can be effective for some people. But again, overdoing it and then trying to balance the sort of strength training along with that, you can leave yourself feeling quite fatigued and burnt out, and then actually, unfortunately, lead to insufficient muscle development, especially if you're coupling this with fad diets, for example, or cutting carbs, and you're using HIIT training, even if you're using resistance training here, but you're using it as your methodology of making the fat loss occur, or even the toning. Some people may also find themselves getting prone to injuries as well, and then that can lead to some setbacks. And then of course we've got like the cardio focused workouts. Now obviously cardiovascular or cardio work is really good for our cardiovascular health, but sometimes I find that, again, I've heard this from women in the past as well, that they just want to get the weight loss first, and just by going for that cardio, they neglect the resistance training, and again that can prevent them from actually achieving that toned muscular physique. Let's say it, because women now, we should be getting muscular and we should be getting strong and we should be feeling empowered with that as well. So it's just really important that we get away, and I hope for most of you now, like the cardio bunny days are gone, right? And again, just thinking about some of those things there, they come with plateaus, right? So after your initial success, your progress stalls despite you know, having continued effort, and leading to that frustration and demotivation as well. And it's like when you start these things, you're motivated because it's that newness, it's something exciting. Your best friend tried it out and it worked for her, and you get great results. Maybe you even had great results before when you tried this. But again, after a while, when you get to that plateau, you just start to feel that motivation wane, right? And then when we're coming into like the struggles that you might come across as well, life gets busy, life gets in the way. And especially when you're not seeing those immediate results. And as we've already touched on, again, online and in the media, especially with magazines and, you know, the way that websites are and Google and stuff, there's so many conflicting opinions out there. And again, this can lead to that sort of overwhelm and that confusion as well as thinking about, well, what really works. And then along with all of this, and even if this is like you've tried all these different things, like where is the personalized approach to this, and where is that guidance that's going to stop you from using very generic advice that just fails to consider your unique lifestyle and also your preferences and goals? Because although we might have goals of dropping the body fat and getting that toned physique, again, we have different future goals as well. And I think it's just really important to think about those things as well. So we kind of touched on some of the issues, but I really wanted to kind of get in and throw in some information, or just kind of dispel and debunk these myths. So again, quite often in the past, I know that we're moving away from this now, which is beautiful. We're in such a great place within the fitness industry for women as well, for us feeling like, yes, we should be doing resistance training and doing weights as well. But unfortunately, there are some of us still believe that lifting weights is going to make them bulky. And again, does that take you back to wanting to do the cardio again, and then, you know, doing the toning stuff? And lifting weights is not going to make you bulky. And that's the thing. It's a case of using the nutrition and the fitness to help create that leanness that we're all looking for. And you don't need to do hours of cardio as well. Cardio is a great tool. It can, again, it's great for building cardiovascular fitness, and it can help you when you are coming towards the end of a, you know, like a fat loss programming period as well. So it can really be helpful there. And then again, when it comes to spot reduction, no matter how much you try and do all those abs, and, you know, you try and just specifically work a certain area, like, yes, you're going to be building muscle in that area, but you cannot reduce the fat or spot reduce the fat in that one area. So that's another one. And then eating less is always better. We've always heard that. But again, what does that do to your energy levels? Your energy is just going to be down. So it's finding that balance. You don't want to get to a point where you're eating 1,000 calories a day, and, you know, you might be tracking and it's 1,000 calories a day, and then you're just not seeing the results, because we're going to have shifts in, you know, the metabolic responses as well to bodies shutting down, and almost like learning how to survive on less calories as well. And then the cutting carbs. Now, the cutting carbs is an interesting one. And for every 1 gram, or for every 1 gram of carbs that you consume, you actually hold 3 grams of water. So when you are cutting carbs, you're not actually cutting the fat, you're cutting water. And again, you know, some people, you see those results sooner, and you think, yeah, this is working for me, but then at some point it's not going to make sense, right? So if any of those have kind of resonated with you so far, leave me a 4 in Zoom chat, just so that I know that you're still following. I'm just going to take a quick swig of water. Brilliant, brilliant. It's good to know that it's all stuff that, you know, even for me as well, I've believed some of these things as well growing up. And or just even on my growing through my fitness journey as well. And when we're thinking about the mistakes that we're making, again, a lot of this stuff does seem repetitive, but it's prioritizing the cardio over the strength training, because you're thinking, right, I just need to lose the weight or drop the fat first. And actually the strength training is the thing that's going to help you shape and retain muscle mass as well, which is all stuff that's really, really important for us as we get older as well. And also as we are dropping the body fat, you know, we need to be able to reveal that wonderful shape that we've built as well. And it's really important for us because, you know, we should be strong and thriving. And then again, the fad diets or the extreme dieting, we've touched on that. And so, you know, some more stuff here that we haven't talked about, but ignoring the recovery and the sleep. Again, quite often you might find that out there, you've seen these like programs that you've downloaded online, and it's like, you know, 30-day shred, and you're doing something for 30 days, like exercise for 30 days. Like, it's so important that you recover well, you have rest days, and sleep's massively important as well, because sleep is where a lot of the magic happens. And again, we're not going to talk about that too much today, but there will be other areas that we'll touch on as we proceed forward as well. And not eating enough protein. Again, protein is so good. It's satiating. It's going to help us with preserving lean muscle tissue when we are in calorie deficit, or we are dieting, or we are, you know, reducing something to create that shift in energy balance as well. And this one, lack of consistency and patience, time and time again, you know, we rely on things like motivation, and the motivation just goes out the window, and then all of a sudden the consistency drops off, and you become impatient, and you start chopping and changing what you're doing as well. So these are evidence-based strategies. These are the best ways, or the best things that you can do and you can apply to your life as well. And we will go into some of these things in a little more detail soon as well. So you want to prioritize that resistance training. So as we said again, it's the resistance training is the stuff that's going to help us preserve that lean muscle tissue and help build that shape as well for us. And again, it's going to help improve your metabolism. You know, we all want to try and do that. We want to become more metabolically, you know, better, if you like. We want to be able to utilize calories better and energy better as well. And then creating a moderate calorie deficit. Again, you want to try and find somewhere that helps you get that steady fat loss. And so it's just not dropping off quick. Again, this is going to help with that preservation of lean, you know, muscle. And again, just coupling that in with that physical activity and making sure that this all sort of marries well together. And then a balance with your macronutrients. So you don't want to be in a position where you are completely cutting out the carbs and all you're having is just protein and fats, and you know, we're neglecting one macronutrient, and we don't want to do that. We want to think about everything unifying and being, you know, wholesome as well with the food variety. And the fats, again, massively important for your hormonal health. You don't want to drop the fats. I know that's quite an old thing that people used to do before, but you know, cutting carbs is no good either. And then, yeah, incorporating progressive overload within your workouts. So again, time and time again, I might do an audit on someone's like current training as well. And you'll find that within this, they are doing a home workout, for example, and they've only got access to a couple of dumbbells, and they're doing the same things over and over again. There's, you know, if you're not adding in that additional stimulus and you're not gradually increasing the rate, the resistance, the weights and the reps, or even the intensity of your workouts, you're going to be missing a trick. And all of those things are going to help with your muscle growth and ultimately help create that improved and a more toned appearance that you're looking for over time. And as we've touched on again, recovery, sleep, and stress management. Now, I promise you, we're not going to just read slides here. We are actually going to take some action, and I'm going to be giving you guys some ladies, some actionable tips, things that you can work on once you have left this masterclass today as well. So obviously, you know about a little bit about the Girl Boss method, and within the Girl Boss method, our method, my method, the roadmap to success, really, we've got 4 pillars. We've got mindset. And mindset is massively important because it's really important that we change, you know, the way that we are thinking about our bodies and the thinking about the nutrition, and our lifestyle is massively important. The impact of our lifestyle, making this more adaptable and coherent with your lifestyle and all the stresses and things that you know you need to balance. And then the nutrition, which we'll go into in just a moment, and the fitness. So if you're enjoying this so far, please leave me a 5 in the Zoom chat and we will move forward in just a moment. So we're going to be focusing on the nutrition and the fitness. Now, if you paid attention earlier to some of the messages that I sent out, I will have said, grab a pen and a piece of paper. So make sure that you've got that on hand because you don't want to miss the next bit. Also, make sure you've got your phone. So I've got mine here as well because we will be using the calculator app in just a moment as well. So we're going to be doing some sums here. Right. Okay. So let's talk about nutrition. Now, there are various ways that I help my ladies inside the Girl Boss method with nutrition. Okay. So again, if everything that you're learning today, if this is something that's really it really interests you and you want to learn more, you need to make sure that you shoot me a DM. So if you've got Instagram there, send me the word masterclass. And then I know that where you've come from as well. And just that we obviously WhatsApp or Instagram is all good, but we're going to just keep it moving forward. And so calories and macros. This is honestly one of the best ways to achieve your fat loss and toning goals. It's so, so important. And there are many other methods that we won't have time to go over today. But again, if it's something you want to learn more about and you want to learn more about working with me, make sure that you send me that message. Okay, so let's talk about calories first. Calories is energy. It's energy. It's the total amount of energy that we are consuming. So again, if we want to lose fat, we need to consume fewer calories than we are burning. And that is the calorie deficit. And then we move on to macros. So you've got carbohydrates, you've got protein, and you've got fats. Now, each of these are going to play a specific role within your body. You've got protein. We've talked about essential for muscle repair and growth. You ideally will go through some maths on this as well. I've kind of let the cat out the bag there, but 1.4 to 2.2 grams of per kilo of body weight is what you want to aim for when you are working and aiming to get into that calorie deficit. It's really important. It's not only for the muscle repair and growth, it's for helping us feel more satiated, and it's a better macronutrient to metabolize as well. It does better as well. And again, we can go into that in some more detail in future, etc. So again, carbs provide your energy and they're great for your workout. And ideally, yes, you want to choose those complex carbs, like whole grains, your vegetables, your fruits. And then, yes, we've got our fats. These are going to help support our hormone production and overall health. So we've got, various different healthy fats that we can obtain from food. So you've got your avocados, your nuts, your olive oil. And then obviously you've got other fats if you eat fish or even tofu or anything like that as well. There are other fats present in those. Right. So here we go. If you're still with me, you've got that pen and paper ready. Drop a 6 in the Zoom chat. Brilliant. So I know that you're still paying attention. So we're going to have to get a pen and a paper out. And of all the things that I got ready for us tonight, I've got a pen and I've got a piece of paper. Lovely. All right. So firstly, this is going to be about calculating your calories. Now, quite often, yes, you might find that online you can get formulas and, or you can get generic, websites that kind of do everything for you. You can run it through. But when you do have a coach, when you have a coach and when you work with me, I will be doing this stuff for you. But I think it's such a good exercise for you to actually see that it's not a figure that's just pulled out the sky and that is it. This is all evidence-based stuff. And this is stuff, again, that works. So you need to calculate your total daily energy expenditure. So this is your TDEE using the following formula. So I'm not going to confuse you too much, but we will do this together. So you've got your basal metabolic rate, your BMR. Now, your BMR is the stuff that just keeps you ticking. It's the amount of energy or the amount of calories that you are using to just stay alive, basically. That's it. It's not considering anything else. And then we have something called a physical activity level, which I'm going to shorten to PAL. So if anyone's heard of those terms, just throw a 7 in the Zoom chat for me. And I'm going to skip forward a slide because I think most of us have heard of the BMR, right? But the physical activity level is, again, this is not planned activity. This is not planned exercise. This is the stuff that we might do in terms of how our lifestyle is and how our lifestyle is built. So I want you to, at this point, pick a physical activity level, pick a PAL. I want you to consider your lifestyle. Is your lifestyle sedentary? Is it lightly active? Are you moderately active? Are you very active? And now some of the things that we can think about here is, having a look in the description. You've got little or no activity. So maybe you've got a desk job. Perhaps maybe you work from home. That might sit you at 1.1. But let's say, you work from an office, you've got a desk job, but you end up commuting to work. Now, that might send you over to 1.2. Then you might find that actually you've got a lightly active job role because perhaps maybe you work in an industry where you are standing for some portion of the day or walking. There might be lots of, it might be desk based, but again, you're sort of in and out chair and up and moving around and walking. And again, it sounds crazy, but even personal trainers might be lightly active depending on, how big their personal training studio is that they work in. They might well sit around the 1.3 in terms of their physical activity level. And then you've got the moderately active. And this is, again, people that are active the whole day. So again, street sales, we're thinking about people that literally walk. Maybe you're, just street sales or walking a lot, and there's lots of moving around, etc. Can't think of anything right now. And then very active. And again, this is for those very physically demanding jobs. And again, this is, we can look at being sort of 1.7 or there or higher. Okay. So that's what we know right now. So drop an 8 in the Zoom chat if you have worked out what your physical activity level is. Brilliant. Excellent. And I want you to keep this all private for yourself, because I think, again, what I think you need to realize is that we are all individual, and a set of calories that might work for your best friend because you think, maybe you look fairly the same in terms of your composition. Again, it's going to differ for you. And again, let's say having toddlers, I mean, again, how much would you maybe sit there at sort of 1.3? Again, could we say that there is some activity moving around throughout the day? Maybe you could be sort of 1.2 to 1.3. Yeah, again, this is something to play around with and just have a go and see if it works. And again, we will talk about this later as well, but things do need to be tweaked. It's not a this is it and that's it, but as we change composition, so as we drop body weight or body fat or any of those things, as we start to physically change, the way that we do some of the calculations are going to change as well. Okay. And this is not planned exercise, just to let you know. Planned exercise is entirely different. Okay. So we won't talk about that now. You'll be surprised. Planned exercise doesn't really equate to as much as you might find on your Apple Watch, for example. Again, they don't have all the stats and all the things, so we can kind of guesstimate around a lot of this stuff, but it's really, really difficult, again, to pinpoint and say that's the thing. Okay, so we've done that. Now we are going to work out our BMR. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write the words 6. So you want you to write the number 655, then go plus. Then I want you to close the bracket, go 9.6 times the bracket, your weight. Let's say, for example, you weigh 70 kilos. We're just going to go with that. Close the bracket. Then you're going to plus, open the bracket, 1.8. And let's say that your height, you are 165 centimeters. Okay, so we've got to make sure there's a times there as well. And then close the bracket. And then you've got one more, which is minus your age. So 4.7 times. And I'm unashamedly, I'm 40. So I don't know if you guys knew that or you came across that on the gram. But yes, I turned 40 in March this year. So we're going to use those stats. So get your calculator out. We'll do this together. So firstly, before we go for the first number, I want you to look at the first set of brackets. So where you've got 9.6 times your body weight, we've gone for 70 kilos. So I'm going to go 9.6 times by 70 kilos. I get the figure 672. So I'm going to put in small, just at the top of that bracket area, 672. And hopefully if I do this, you can kind of see what I'm doing there. I'm putting it in the just above the bracket because we'll need that in a mo. Next up, 1.8 times by your height. So I've gone for 165 as my height. So we go 1.8 times 165 equals 297. 297. Then we've got the very last one, which was 4.7 times by 40, which is my age. So 4.7 times by 40, and that's 188. Having a look again, I'll just hold that for a moment. It should look something like this. So now we can write the formula with the bracket things. So you will go 655. I will go 672 because that's the first bracketed for me. Then I go plus. The second bracketed for me is 297 minus, very important that you do a minus on that last one. My one was 188. And then we're going to run that through our calculator. So we go 655 plus 672 plus 297 minus 188. And now we have found my BMR, the amount of calories that I need to have just to stay like this. I probably need more energy doing this Zoom call than I do my BMR. This is literally like if you were to lay in a bed and stay there, okay? So you write that number down, make sure you put it in secret. Then what I want you to do is times it by your physical activity level, your chosen activity level. Now, I'm going to say, believe it or not, I have a rather sedentary lifestyle because I am a online fitness coach. And that means I spend a lot of time at my desk, which means I also have to go and do planned exercise, and I have to go and take myself out on walks and make sure I get my steps up and really just try and build an active lifestyle for myself so that I can empower the ladies and sort of be on that journey with them and know exactly how it feels as well, because we need to walk the walk when we are talking the talk, right? So I'm going to times that. And if I take that, oh, have I lost my mouse? If we take that back to physical activity level, I'm going to have to go maybe 1.1. You've lost your calculation. Let's start again. I'm going to just hold it on that slide. Put it down. You can, do you know what? You can DM me after this. How about we do that? And I'll show you what the answer is. So send me a DM. Make sure there's some context with that as well. Okay, so we've done that. And I'm going to times it. And I have found my answer. Brilliant. Okay. Now, that's basically our physical lifestyle activity level and our energy, you know, that we need to stay alive. So then we need to start thinking about the calorie deficit. Now, this might make some of you feel a little bit sad, right? Because if that number is quite low, this is where we also need to think about how we can try and increase that. So yes, we can do things like ensuring that our step count is up, ensuring that we're training in the gym as well. We're utilizing and building muscle, because all of those things are going to help us. And then, of course, we've got things, you know, like our planned cardio exercise as well that we can add in. There are many different tools that we can draw upon. But I want you to set that time aside for the time being. I just wanted you to go through that calculation just so that you can understand how we might start to think about the chosen calories for you. And again, when you're left with just one aspect or one part of the picture, it can really create a bit of a dent or leave a hole in maximizing your potential in all other areas when it comes to activity as well. So let's talk about the deficit. So again, this is all hypothetically speaking. Let's say, for example, you want to drop 0.5 kilograms in a week. And that's that's generally what you might find on Google. That's the sort of typically normal amount. Well, then in order to do that, you would need to apply a weekly deficit of 3,500 calories. We can divide this, over the course of seven days. And those 7 days, again, you could make that 500 calorie daily deficit. Now, what you need to remember is that's obviously just thinking about the energy intake. It's not thinking about any of the outputs from the additional activity that we are going to program for you, or you might do. Okay, so when it comes to the resistance training and maybe there is some cardio in there as a tool, and the steps. Okay, so all of those things, building that whole picture up. You need to make sure that this is realistic for your own personal lifestyle needs. Dropping too low, it's going to make you feel, we'll swear, it's going to make you feel like shit. Okay, it's going to make you feel horrible, and you're not going to have enough energy to sustain the activity levels that your lifestyle requires. And it might make you even consider and think about some of the choices that you make over the course of a day. How can I push, if you're at 1.1, how can I make myself have a more 1.2 activity level? What things can I do? Maybe when I'm at work, I could try and get out of my chair a little bit more. Maybe I could walk up the flight of stairs instead of getting the lift. Maybe I could walk an extra or park the car further away, or whatever it looks like for you. And so we need to consider all of these things. And the ultimate thing is it needs to be sustainable and realistic. I think I did miss this, but again, dropping too low might make you overshoot on the days that you were not in a deficit. So for example, typically you might find some people go, well, I do a calorie deficit Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, I just go for a cheat, right? I mean, that's, again, takes us further into the nutrition coaching and stuff as well. But you could be overcompensating on days, thus taking yourself out of the deficit. And a deficit doesn't always have to be 500 calories, but it's just to tell you that, you know, give you a ballpark figure. And it's just, we're talking whole numbers here just to try and make things a little bit more easier. And we're thinking about the macros. So ideally, I would say we sit around 1.6 grams per kilogram of your body weight. So if you know what your body weight in kilograms is right now, you will times that. Again, you can get your calculator out and you can times that by 1.6. That's the amount of protein that you need to be having when you're on this deficit as well. And then I also like to sit around the 30% for fats, because I just feel like, again, this can be anything between like, you know, 20 to 30 or 15 to 35, or even some people program it a lot higher, but you just don't want to be neglecting the fats. And fats, I sit around 30% because good for hormones. Again, if we start overshooting and making them too high, fat grams are actually higher in calories than protein and carbs. So just to kind of give you some idea, I hope I'm not losing my voice. If you're still listening, can I get you to drop a 9 in the Zoom chat? Excellent. So hopefully we haven't skipped a beat there. Yes. So again, remaining calories, we would put them towards, you know, carbs. This is quite an advanced way of tracking, and it does take time, practice, and patience to nail, because you need to know the foods that you enjoy. You need to know how they sit within your calories, how they sit, and how we can manipulate things and manipulate numbers to make them work for us. So I'm just going to say, keep it simple. Calories, total calories, and a focus on your protein. Just make sure you've got those things going on. And then just know that you're not excluding any macronutrient, that you're not excluding carbs. And one thing we haven't talked about here, which is very important, is fiber. So quite recently, I had a lady join me, and she's been on the program a couple of weeks now, actually. And we'd set her, you know, her calories and gone over her nutrition diary, had a look at the way that she was tracking, having a look at her food. And one of the things that was highlighted, so although she was getting loads of protein in, doing amazing on that, hitting the calories just how we wanted them to be hit, and doing all the training and doing everything, she was not getting enough fiber in her diet. And with that, where she was quite carb phobic, actually started to understand that actually, maybe I do need some carbs, because the carbs are going to help with the fiber. Fiber is massively important for our bowel movements, etc. I'm sure I don't need to explicitly explain that, but it's important. We need to make sure that we consider all things and follow an 80-20 rule. And you've heard this term thrown around lots, but we need to have a bit of enjoyment in life. So everything doesn't have to be clean. And quite often, do you know what? Yes, it can be done without tracking. And again, those will be other methods that we will look at when we work together. And if you choose to sign up and start online coaching with me, that is something that we would be working on together. It doesn't, you know, the macro tracking and the calorie tracking does not always have to be the way. And it certainly isn't the level one that I start with my clients. We work very, very bespoke. We do, you know, other various techniques that we won't have time to go over today. And actually, we're almost getting towards, you know, end of time, if you like. So yes, track when, you know, adjust when needing. And a wonderful tool is MyFitnessPal. And in terms of long-term results, once you have got to your target goal, and remember that the target goal, you know, when we're looking at mini goals, we're looking at periods of sort of, you know, dropping the body fat and then working on building, you know, the toning, the muscle, we'll say explicitly. There will be a time when gradually increasing your calories will need to happen, but there needs to, and then we call this a reverse diet. but there needs to be you know, you need to adopt the mindset knowing that having the increase in calories may increase in weight, your body weight, but your overall composition will change. You will look different. And again, when we start looking at those long-term results, again, we need to create some flexibility around those lifestyle events, etc. And the biggest thing that I need to run home is that we are the sum of all things that we do consistently day in and day out. One day of deviation will not make a huge difference. If you are consistent, if you are patient, things will change, things will happen. And one day shouldn't resort to everything being undone. We talked about creating the deficit. Just to gain 0.5, you had to have an additional, well, just to lose 0.5 kilos, you had to cut down the 3,500 calories. The same works with, if we're looking at an increase of weight, 3,500 calories is the thing that's going to push us up to the 0.5 kilos. So all in perspective. We're going to come on to the fitness stuff. And again, we're not going to be as long as we were on the nutrition here, but if you've really enjoyed this so far, what I'd love you to do is shoot me over a DM on Instagram with the word masterclass, just so again, where I know you've come from. And if you get booking in a call between now and the end of August, and you look at signing up with me and working with me on a longer term basis, I will have a gift for you. Okay. So I'll give you a gift just for booking in the call. Just for booking in the call between now and the end of August, you will get a gift. So make sure you get that at the end as well. Right. I've lost my cursor. Here we go. So fitness. So obviously this is the stuff that shapes us ultimately. Fitness isn't there to create the ultimate deficit. Nutrition is where 80 to 90% of the work is going to happen and the magic's going to happen. But the fitness is the stuff that shapes us. And this is why it's really important for us to not rely on things like cardio to get the body fat down. You know, we want to look at all the things that shape us. And again, with here, these are the key areas that I found that us ladies love. I love developing this stuff for myself as well. The abs, the arms, the glutes, this is what everybody wants, right? But when we're thinking about achieving toned abs, nutrition is key. Achieving visible abs is primarily about reducing body fat through a calorie deficit. Yes, we can do the core exercises, and these are going to help build the tone and build the muscle. We're going to incorporate things like the planks, the leg raises, and the rotational exercises like, the Russian twists, etc., into your routine, and various other movement patterns as well that we can do. Again, compound movements are going to help work and tone your abs. So deadlifts and squats, which are going to be engaging your core. And just to touch on that, it depends at the level of fitness that you are right now. So if you are a beginner, or you have, you're coming out and exercising after a break, so whether that's after injury or after having a child or anything, we need to address and work the core in a very different way, okay? Toned arms, mix of compound and isolation exercises. You need to work your upper body, your entire upper body. All those press ups, those benches, those shoulder presses are going to help you build your strength. And you know that I love them. If you've been following me for a while, I absolutely love pull-ups. I think there is nothing more empowering than seeing us ladies absolutely smash the upper body exercises, because we're known for having strong legs, right? We're always stronger down below. But I think it's so important, especially when it comes to developing that upper body, having, the strength is going to help us, and being able to get stronger and work the pull-ups, work the press-ups, just going to be badasses in the gym, right? And again, not neglecting the isolation exercises, the bicep curls, the tricep dips, the lateral raises, all those things, and applying progressive overload. We talked about this very basically previously, or just earlier on, but gradually increasing the weight or resistance to build that muscle definition over time. And then frequency. Honestly, you do not need to be training 5 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week. 4 is amazing. 2 is enough, but 3 is the sweet spot. And this is, again, to just create that balance in your lifestyle. You need to ensure that you are having proper rest in between your sessions. And then we come on to the glutes. So glute focused exercises. None of this stuff where you see bands are great for rehab, where you're seeing, 30 to 50 reps on donkey kicks. Yes, those things, some of those things are, we'll see these exercises, even kickbacks. They are isolation exercises in that sense. But again, you need to be adding progressive overload. You need to be increasing the resistance to create and, stimulate the muscle growth. Our bums are going to look amazing if we build muscle, and building muscle is going to be looking at those glute based exercises. So your hip thrusts, your glute bridges, your squats, your deadlifts. And then even when it comes to like effective programming. So yes, incorporate different movement patterns. So like your split squats and, your single leg glute bridges and all sorts of different, Romanian deadlifts, the B stance work, all of those things, different areas, different ways to target the glutes from different angles as well is great. However, stop chopping and changing the exercise frequency. And what I mean by that is quite often I see individuals don't have the patience. They don't have the patience to stick with a program and hone in and do the work. They go, right, I've done that for a week. I didn't see anything. Or this session, let me try something else. Ultimately, your muscles do not need confusing, right? You don't need to be trying to hit them in different angles where you just, your muscles don't know what's going on. No, muscles love boring exercises. They love boring exercises, applying the resistance, applying the progressive overload, stimulating the muscle, patience, ensuring that you're adequately fueled for these sessions as well. And again, we haven't talked about different phases again. So we can go through a fat loss phase where we are dropping the body fat, maintaining lean muscle mass, and then we can come into a surplus. So again, we touched on a little bit with the reverse dieting and that protocol of trying to increase the calories. That's going to help you ultimately with growing as well. So it's really, there's lots of things to learn, but it is simple when you break it down. It doesn't have to be confusing and whatever. We've got methods and we've got tools that we can help you do. So consistency is key. Sticking to your calorie deficit and your training plan consistently for steady fat loss. You want to focus on that resistance training, to prioritize that resistance training to preserve muscle mass whilst losing fat, and cardio as a tool. So again, we can use moderate cardio like walking or cycling, so steady state stuff to help increase, the calories that we are burning, but we don't want to rely on it exclusively. And I am not against HIIT training. I think HIIT training is wonderful if used in the right manner. And again, considering things like your stage of fitness, whether you are a beginner coming back to things, or an intermediate, wherever stage and phase that you are in with your exercise or your fitness journey, we need to make sure that if you are using HIIT training, it's applied in the right way. And again, maintaining these results. So we're transitioning. So these are all key points to consider, and key points to consider as we move and we glide forward with this. So we want to transition from the calorie deficit. So gradually increasing your calories after you've reached your goal is going to help you avoid that rebound in weight gain. So again, reverse dieting, continue the resistance training. Don't stop, keep going. This is what we need to be doing. If you're in your 30s, ladies, in your 40s, you need to be doing resistance training. It's going to help with that muscle, but it's going to help with bone health as well. And we are in these decades, 30s and 40s, but we're going to be in our 50s and our 60s and our 70s and our 80s, and we are going to need all the building blocks to be built now. We are doing the groundwork for now to help our future selves as well. And it's great looking sexy and lean and wonderful and feeling confident. But again, we need to think that these are great things and tools that we do, just like how you have, you know, a pension, you've got a job, you've got a career, you apply a pension, you create savings, whatever it is that you're doing, you're planning for your future, and you need to think about planning for your future with your physical health as well. This stuff is massively important, and I will scream and shout about it all day. I know it sounds sexy, but it's important. So yes, sustain healthy eating habits. Stick to a balanced diet rich in your whole foods, and we want that flexibility. So yes, we can have, and this is one of the wonderful things about macro tracking or calorie tracking and using that as a way of as a nutrition tool, is that you can squeeze in and you can have those chocolate treats and those whatever, you know, flexibility, and it's not all about really big heavy deficits and these insane cheat days, you know. So just thinking about those things as well. So no food exclusion here. And regular monitoring. Monitoring is so important. If you do not, what cannot be measured cannot be managed. So if you're not measuring the things that you should be, then how can you manage them? If you are haphazardly going from diet type to exercise type to changing the program to doing different things constantly, they're not going to serve you in the long term. We need to keep an eye on the metrics, keep an eye on your body composition, adjust things, make tweaks and tricks and tweaks here and there. And these are the things that are going to help us maintain our wonderful results. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Thank you so much for sticking with me, ladies. It's been really nice having you on board. I hope you've enjoyed learning a couple of tools and things that you can take away from this as well. So the next steps for you would be to go ahead and book a call with me. We will go over where you are right now, where you want to go, and find out ultimately if we are a good fit for each other. So this isn't just about you coming to me. This is also ensuring that, you know, we both get on well with each other. Because if we're going to be working with each other, and if it's, you know, 6 months or a year or 12 months or what have you, we need to make sure that I am the coach for you and you are the client for me, and that we can really help you move forward. There will be things that, you know, areas that perhaps maybe I might not be a good fit for, and I can again refer you onto somebody else. And if this does scream at you and you absolutely want to get started with me, then yes, we can get started right away. But also, yeah, so if you want to do that, DM me the word masterclass, and that will allow me to know where you've come from. If you book a call with me, I will have a special gift waiting for you. Again, I'd love to speak to you and learn about how I can help you. And again, you can take what you've learned from here, you can figure the stuff out on your own, or you could look at having, you know, a go at investing with me and inside learning more about the Girl Boss method itself and smashing the goals. So these are the two directions, just to take it back there. Option one, take the information I've given you in this video, take the time to try and build your own programming and your own systems yourself. And option two, we can hop on a call, we can discuss what we've tried and tested already and customize this to your needs specifically to help you reach your goal by the end of 2024. So if you found that right now you're happy to go alone, that's absolutely fine. We've got the bank holiday coming up. You know, again, this is the season where we start coming out of the summer. We are unfortunately going to start heading into the end of the year. And if you have goals that you want to achieve by Christmas, don't come up to me in October and November and say, I want to start, because it's going to become a 2025 thing. And if you want to get started and you want to make sure that you achieve these goals, make a dent in that progress, then that's something that we need to get talking about, getting you booked on a call. Send me the message masterclass and we'll take it from there. So thank you so much for enjoying or joining me on this call, on this masterclass. This is the first time that I've ever run one of these. So yeah, if you've enjoyed that, leave a number 11 in the Zoom chat. And actually, you know what? Scrap that. Leave a hell yes if you have really enjoyed this masterclass. And I look forward to speaking to you ladies soon. Thank you.